All right, hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? Let me get my screen shared here for y'all as well. Awesome. And do we have a background? There we go. That looks a little bit better, I think. Awesome. All right. Hello, Global Hack Week. Excited to be with y'all today. I think we've got a few folks in the crowd. I'm going to be using the Gemini CLI to build a hack, ideally a hack that you all suggest to me. So I am going to need some audience participation here, which on a Tuesday in the middle of the day, we'll see how we do on that. But we'll kill a little bit of time here and let folks roll in. Is anyone out there listening to me, or am I speaking to the void right now? Have any fans in the crowd? And I will get the event page pulled up for y'all here as well. Hello, hello. We do have chat interaction. You'll love to see it. Howdy, friends. If y'all have not done so already, make sure you check into the event. I'll post that link again. This is how you get your points for Global Hack Week and all that good stuff. So make sure you are logged in and checked in for the events. And all you need to do is just register and check in, and you should see this green button here. That means you're good to go. My mouse actually resizes for y'all. Cool. And I'm realizing I probably need to increase my font size a little bit for everybody at home, would be my assumption. We already have one person who's checked in. Fan number one reporting, hell yeah, we love to see that. Excited to have you. For my two folks who have interacted in the chat so far, do either of you have a hack in mind that we're going to build? Either of you have pitches for me? Let's also see if we can make a few edits here while I wait for that. Can I resize this? Does not look like it. I can maximize, I see, cool. Alrighty, so let's see here. We'll give it, maybe we'll give it a minute while we wait for, can we build anything related to, we absolutely can build something related to data stuff. Do you have any data in mind, or are we just the wide range of data out there? One idea in that vein, NYC Open Data. I have not played around with this set yet, but apparently there's some cool stuff in this. I'm based in New York City right now, as maybe the subcontext here, but apparently there's some cool data in this set here. So maybe something there. Hackathon project idea generator based on the hackathon theme. I love that. I definitely think we could do something there. Maybe like, like the easy thing I'm thinking about here is like, maybe we go to like emlich.io/events, and then I don't think that you need to use an extension for this, but it'd be cool if you like click into an event and like have like a little sidecar extension that tells you about like the event's theme or something like that, and then gives you ideas based on it. We could do that on dev post as well pretty easily, I think. It's a cool one. We have any other ideas that are coming up? To see if there's maybe Pearl Hacks is another good one to look at too. Is there a theme for this? Like maybe a coffee theme based on the background? Or like, yeah, they have like a little cafe, a brew with Pearl Hacks. That's cute. Oh, what's up, 404? Good to see you. That's awesome. I am doing a stream. Yeah, I was doing a stream before it was cool. I think Mary might have been as well, but Swift and John have actually usually come to tomorrow's stream. We have a very exciting stream tomorrow, so everyone should come check that out. But I was doing my tomorrow or Thursday. I don't remember which one. And I can't check on stream because I think I'll spoil the surprise if I do. But I think it's during our closing is when we have that coming on. So that might be Thursday, not tomorrow. I'm still sourcing project ideas here as well. If anyone else, we're going to use the Gemini CLI and we're going to build something cool together. I just don't know what we're going to build yet. It's Thursday. Okay, thank you. While we continue to brainstorm ideas, how's my font size for everybody at home? I'm on a different monitor than normal. Do I need to make this bigger than it is currently, or is this fine? Can we see this terminal in particular? I fear that it's a little bit bigger. I got you. Let's try like that maybe. How's that working? Yeah, more. I apologize. I have very small fonts on my computers. I get yelled at all the time. You had to hop in to say hi. Well, it's hop in, say hi, and give me a hack idea as well, 404. I need ideas here. So right before my stream, I uninstalled Gemini CLI so I can show you all how easy it is to install. There's plenty of options in here. If you're not familiar, the Gemini CLI is a command line tool or command line interface for interacting with Gemini, and it's really meant for software developers. Actually, I shouldn't even say that. I think it's meant for technical folks in general. I think a lot of these command line tools were originally for software developers, but I know the Gemini one in particular, like folks like for some more creative things, like working with like lots of files and stuff like that. Think of it as Gemini with like file system access, which can be both dangerous and very helpful. You got to be careful when you're using these tools, but we will be today. Pizza. Is this a project idea? What is pizza? Am I missing something? Regardless, though, this is the Gemini CLI website. I'll drop that in chat in case anyone wants to follow along with me. And then I'm going to jump into more install options here. You can just install this with Node Package Manager. I'm actually going to use this brew command here. Homebrew, if you're not familiar, is like a yet another package manager here, but quite popular on Mac and Linux devices. And we are on Linux right now, but we'll do brew install Gemini CLI. And hopefully that will work for us. So we'll give it a second here. That's looking good to me. And I'm still not sold on what project we're going to build. So I'm still open to pitches if anyone else has them. So far, I think I'm leaning towards the hackathon idea generator, but I'm open to others. I'm open. Looks like that's wrapping up extraction. And we're doing some installations. Cool. We'll give that a second to go. And I'm seeing no other entries here, so we might be selecting between our two options. Unless anyone wants to convince me otherwise, I'm feeling the hackathon idea generator. I feel like that's very relevant. I don't know if anyone else is feeling a particular sort of way here. While I get that pulled up, I'll give you all a couple of other links. So it's Google AI Pro student author. Yeah, Gemini.google/students. So this is another great opportunity here. I'm going to be using a paid version of Gemini on stream. If you are a student, you actually get their pro plan totally for free for an entire year. There's some terms that apply, and this does vary by region and geography. But for anyone who is interested, you can go grab this to use the same tools that I'm using up here on stage. So I'll link that out to y'all as well. And then I think I'm going to close out this data tab. I think we're going to stick with the hackathon idea generator is the one that's any project based on the prediction of something based on data. This is too broad for me. I'm a simple man. I just came out of another meeting. I'm looking for more direction than that, my friend. I think the hackathon idea generator is going to win out as a result here. And we are pulling data. We're pulling data from the event page itself to make our hack. So, all right. So looks like we're installed here. We might need to restart, but let's see if that works or not. So I'm just going to run the Gemini command, and we are going to trust this folder, and it's going to restart itself so that it trusts. So I am logged in here. This is going to have a bunch of different settings that we can go into here. The one I want to make sure I do, though, is enable the preview features. Let's see if we can do that, because I want to make sure that we have access to all the latest models. Enter to select, yeah, and escape to close. Did that actually work? It does not look like it. Apply to system. Oh, there's an error saving your system settings. Okay. Let's try that again. Settings. This is set to true already. Great. All right. So then if we come look at the models here, so I'm doing a slash command here. So I'm pulling up slash model. And I do have the preview enabled. So I'm going to actually restart real quick. Is there a restart? There's not, but we'll do a quick /Q. And then we'll run Gemini again, and hopefully that has our preview settings enabled. I want to make sure that we have access to Gemini 3 Flash in particular is the one. Yeah, I can see that we're already toggled into auto in the bottom right-hand corner, way down here. So I will go ahead and switch models, and I'm going to switch this. I'm going to try and use Flash Preview for most of what we're doing today. I think that's going to be the right move for what we're looking at. So we've got our Gemini CLI installed. Let's take a quick look here at, so let's go look at some of our event pages as well. So if I do like this maybe. So I think our game plan is going to be a project, like a web app that helps you plan out project ideas based on the theme. Do we have any particular tech stack that we want to use, or any specific like tools, technologies? I like obviously want to do an AI integration. Like we'll have Gemini actually go and parse the web page. But any particular like framework that we want to build off of? I do a lot of like Python Flask. We could do something else entirely though. Anyone feeling passionate about anything? I'm going to take a look at a couple of pages here to get myself inspired while we think that through. Full schedule coming. I wonder if we want to do something specific around the sponsors, like tell them to go look at the sponsor technologies. Seeing a request for React from Siddharth. I think that's a very reasonable. Let's see here. Let's go look at the, let's do pickaxe. Let's go see. So they have a couple of previous sponsors. Okay. Let's see here, maybe Henhex. And right now I'm just looking for like a good website to kind of test on. And like the things I'm trying to look for, like ideally somebody who has like a nice list of partners or like a really clear theme listed on their page. Something like that we could, that way our AI has a like a good kind of starting point for recommendations. What about Deer Hacks? Connect, sure. So they do have a couple of specific partners here. No specific theme there. Let's see. Blockathon maybe would be a good one. What about? I'm probably being too picky at this point. Let's try Who Hacks. What's this one got? This is like a Wild West theme. I think this is my winner. I like this already. I don't know how the rest of my crowd feels. Let's go see if they have any specific themes here. So they do have a couple of specific tracks as well, which could be cool for us to try and pull out. And they do have some themes as well. Yeah, okay, this is perfect. This is what we're looking for, right? They have like different sections and they have little descriptions for them. This is great. All right, so that's going to be our winner. We're going to work on Who Hacks here in particular as our test case. So we want to do React. For my folks who are in the audience, have either of you used a CLI tool like Gemini CLI before? And actually, let's go look at settings as well. I think there's another experimental feature for planning mode. I wonder if that is in here. Let's see. Well, we can toggle this off so I stop showing my email on screen. That's probably a good one to do. Use background color. IDE mode, new. I can search. I'm an idiot. I should have been looking at that. Plan? Yes. Okay, so let's try and enable that. And we want to enable that. We'll do system-wide CSUN. I did the same thing I did before. So let's do system settings. And then we can escape to close. And I had the exact same error about those settings not saving. So let's give that a restart and see if it worked or not. And let's do Gemini. And so the plan mode in particular, I actually haven't played with the plan mode, so we'll figure that one out together. But let's see if our settings saved. It looks like they did. Plan mode did not get enabled, so let's try and save that to the system. It might be that it's not saving for the system for some reason. Let's try and back that out. And then is it /plan maybe, or how do you switch into it? Is it a tab? Not sure. I know that's like a brand new feature, so that might be the issue we're running into. And then let's set our model manually here again. All right. I feel like we've got our pieces. We're going to work on the Who Hacks website. We're going to try and make an idea generator. We've got our CLI installed. I feel like we just let it rip here. Yeah. So let's start with a little bit of prompting here. So can you help us plan out a React-based web app that allows users to submit a hackathon's website, like submitting a website is the main feature. It should be a big like main box on the homepage, right? I don't want a ton of frills here, just like I'm kind of imagining almost like the Google search, right? Once we submit an address, I want an AI model like Gemini Free Flash to go look at the website and then help me think through hackathon projects specifically themed to that event, ideally pulling information about the sponsors, prize categories, etc. And I'll say like, ask me any questions you need to understand my idea. And let's see if this ideally starts with kind of just asking us some questions here. It might jump straight into coding. We'll see. All right. And so it did ask us some questions. Great. All right. So backend and scraping. Since browser block, yep. Do you want a Node or Express backend to handle fetching? Anyone in my audience have preferences on Node or Express there? Data persistence. I think no data persistence right now, right? Let's keep it simple for the V0 here, like local only is fine. Although maybe in the spirit of data week, we should be saving our stuff, but we'll see here. Authentication, I think public tool, public website and tool. Gemini integration, do you already have a Google AI Studio ready? Google AI Studio API key ready for use? Yes, I do. But can you make a .getignore, a .env.example, and I think, and a .env example for me. I can slot in the API key later. And then visual style. So I'm a big fan of neo-brutalist design right now. So can we do a neo-brutalist website? I've been really digging look for websites recently. And we'll see what that gets us. Nobody in my chat has reacted on our backend question, so we'll just let this rip. We'll say, I'll say, we're feeling a little lazy. Which backend would you recommend? And like, this is probably not best practice. Like, you probably should be slightly more intentional with your decisions, but we're having some fun here, so we'll let that rip. We'll give this a second to think. All right. So let's see what he said here. So for lazy yet effective setup, I recommend Node with Express for the backend. Yep, industry standard for React apps. And makes handling the course friendly. Yep, great. Straightforward. All right, so tech stack, we're going to do, yep, React, Tailwind, CSS rather. Great, neo-brutalism. That all looks good. I'm not super familiar with either of these, but I think that's probably fine. So here's a good example of something that we want to address. So 1.5 Flash. So we want to use Gemini 3 Flash specifically. And sometimes I think it helps if you like tell it a model's from outside its training data. The model exists. It's from after your training data. We could even point it to some documentation as well. It's probably going to be a good one here. So Gemini docs. And let's go to the models and specifically Gemini 3 probably. Yep. And we can give it a link here. All right. Core features, neo-brutalist UI. Yep. Smart scraper. Project ideas. Great. Local storage. That seems fine. And yes, but yes, you're good to get started. Let's see if that gets going for us. Oh, also, hello, how's it going? I just saw this chat message. Where in India are you from? I was just out in India recently. And so here it's at making sure it has permission. We're gonna say yes. It wants to write a file here, yep. And so for this session today, I'm probably gonna like hit yes myself on most things. When I actually do like vibe coding projects like this myself, I tend to default to this, like allow for this session. But for today, we'll slow it down a little bit and like actually approve each of these ourselves. But here it wants to do a combination of different commands. Yeah, that all seems fine. We're gonna trust here. We'll see if this happens. New Delhi, cool. I was in New Delhi. I went to DTU for the Brainwave Hackathon, and then we were in Kerala and Bangalore with other spots that we visited. And really, I should say Kochi, I suppose, but cool. So here it did some installation. That seems fine. All right, and it's going to set up our index.js for us. Sure, we'll go ahead and allow that. Stream. And backend, sure. We're just going to vibe code today. We're going to let it rip and see what happens. So npm create, yep. Front end, and it wants to do some installation. That all seems fine to me as well. And if you're watching, and I wonder how this is going to work with the integrated shell if we do this tab to focus on. So this is a nice feature on Gemini CLI specifically. You can tab into these shell terminals and actually like enter in commands. To go. Sure, we're being wild anyway. Might as well use the experimental version. Yes, and we'll let that go. And you can shift tab back out to actually interact with Gemini. But kind of a nice feature set there. I don't know a lot of other CLI tools that have that. Have you been to, for my friend who's in Delhi, have you been to DTU before? And also, it's got to be late for you in India, right? All right, and it looks like this already has something up on localhost. Do we want to go take a look at that, perhaps? It's on 5173. We certainly can go take a look. Localhost 5173. And that's just the backend. Okay, great. So that looks like it's fine. And it thinks that it's waiting on input, is it? Oh, because it's waiting on the shell here. Can I control C out of that? And then let's see if we can do, I think that worked, but it got hung running the server. Later on, I can spin up the server for you. But you should be good to proceed. And I might be slightly out of date here. I actually think there's a way to like let background processes like that run at the same time. So I could be out of date here for sure. All right. It's going to check if our front end was installed correctly. It wants to cd into that folder and do some installation. Yep. Go ahead and allow that. And we ran into some issues here, right? It's just security vulnerabilities and things like that. Well, it's not a production app, so we're just gonna throw caution to the wind here and keep going along here. That looks fine. Cool. And so here it's gonna actually start to update our Tailwind directives to have our design. Here I can see like increasing the box shadow, which is part of what we're looking for here. I'm also realizing in case folks aren't like neo-brutalist, brutalism websites. Let's go look at some examples here. This looks like a solid one. Like this is kind of the aesthetic that we're going for, and I recognize that might be small for y'all, but we'll reset that and close that out. Alrighty, that looks good. It's gonna make our input great. Our title here, hack brainstormer, this idea generator. I am worried it's going down a rabbit hole where it thinks that the idea generator itself is supposed to be neo-brutalist, but we'll come back and correct that in a second. If so, seems fine for now. All right, so it scaffolded up our project. So it has a backend, great. I'm glad to see that it used Gemini 3 Flash here. I'm curious if it stuck to that. Front end seems fine. It set up our gitignore and our .env. Great. We need to actually update our .env, which makes sense. We need to run the back end and run our front end. Cool. That seems very achievable. So I'm going to actually open up a new tab here, and we're going to do a little bit of I will zoom this in for everybody at home as well. So I'm using something called ZeliJ right now. You might have heard of Tmux as well as another popular one. But it's just going to let us open up multiple terminals kind of in the same interface here. So you can see I have split that between both sides. And so what I'm going to do on one of these is CD into our backend, and then on the other one, I'm going to CD into the front end. And those are the commands I was asked, or the places I was asked to go to. And we're just going to run the dev server on both. All right, so let's go take a look at our front end specifically, npm run dev. Ooh, and we should be able to just shift click that. That looks like it's working. And let's see if this actually loads. It might need the back end running as well, so let's npm run dev. All right, let's give that a refresh. Cool, so we ran into an error. Not ideal, but we're going to power through that. If we give this a zoom. So I'm going to actually just copy this outright. And I could copy it directly from the terminal here as well. And I'm actually going to feed that back to Gemini and see if it can fix its own error. So I'm going to go back into our main one here, and I'm going to say I started the front end, but only saw an error. And I'll actually paste this in. And let's see if it's able to actually debug that itself. And so here, an installation didn't work correctly, so it was able to identify that issue for us. Ooh, hello from Morocco, that's a cool spot. Hello, friend. So we will go ahead and allow this. I've never been to Morocco. Cool. Okay, so it's doing some updates for Tailwind v4 specifically. Great. And it's removing a file it no longer needs. Okay. So this was an error where we had old kind of training data that was not up to date with the current system. Great. So now it should be fixed. So let's go give that a shot. I'm going to just use Control C to restart, and then I am going to do npm run dev again. And if we come back in, oh, that looks awesome already. Very cool. Okay. I like this like slightly off-kilter title as well. It's a cool little design detail. I don't know how easy that is to tell for you all, but it's like slightly tweaked. Very cool. There's a weird little, oh, it's because of the drop shadow here. This is going to be almost impossible for you all to see, but there's like a little peak of the pink coming through here. But I think that's actually quite nice for what we've got so far. I like that it pre-filled with like a dev post URL here. Very cool. And let's see if this actually works. Let's go grab our, and no errors in either spot. Awesome. You're in Marrakesh. Very cool. So let's, and actually let me get rid of this UTM in here. I don't want to further confuse things. So let's just do the website. Let's see if this works. So failed to analyze URL. That's not super surprising. We don't have a valid API key. So that's actually totally user error on that end. Let me open up Code Insiders or something here, and we'll use that as our, give me 1 second to just open the correct folder for y'all, and I'll pull this back on screen. There. And I know I need to zoom this in as well. If I close that out, one thing I will call out for folks as well, you can, and I'll zoom this first before I start doing this, you can actually run the Gemini CLI inside of VS Code. It has a built-in IDE mode, which is kind of nice. I intentionally wanted to do a very like vibe codey project today, but you can actually run this right inside of VS Code or whatever editor you prefer. And that can be a really nice way to interact with these tools as well. So here, I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste this, do this kind of visually for you all. And so here, I'm going to rename this one. I'm going to rename it to just .env. And then I'm going to put in an API key here. I'll show you where I get an API key from, but I will actually do that off screen so I don't give you all my API key. So inside of AI Studio, which you can get to by just going to ai.dev, you can go in this bottom left-hand corner and click on Get API Key. And for me, I'm going to have a bunch of these in here, but you could actually just grab a key and then put that right into your project. And again, I'm going to do this off screen intentionally so that I don't give away my API key for free here. So I'm going to name this Global Hack Week Data. I'm going to create that. As much as I'd like to give you all a key for free here, I will make this a little bit cleaner, bam. And then I'm just gonna pull this off to the side as well. And I will go ahead and get that slotted in. We'll save that. I'm gonna close that out and I'll pull this back on screen in case we need it again. So we've got API key in our .env now. If we come back in here, we probably need to restart our backend. I actually don't know. Let's give it a shot first for the sake of experimentation. We'll see if it works without it or not, without the restart, that is. Let's try this one more time. I'm assuming that's the same error. Yeah, so let's give this a restart then. Keep doing that, but we'll just do npm run dev. Cool, that looks like it works. So let's give this a refresh, just make sure we have the most recent version. And I will grab that URL one more time. And failed to analyze. And so here we're still getting that same error, which is interesting to me. So let's have our tool debug this for us again. Let's see if we can get it to fix itself. So pop back over. Here we're going to say we updated the .env with a valid Gemini API key, but we're still getting an API key related error. Do you mind taking a look? And I'll paste in our logs once again. And this actually might be a cool opportunity to show off a skill as well. We'll see if this figures itself out or not. So let's see here. So here's the issue. The .env file is in the root directory, but we're running this from the backend folder. Okay. Okay. Allow once. That looks correct. Okay, so let's give that another shot. And here it actually does look like it restarted automatically because we updated the code, but just in the interest of being clear here, I will do npm run dev, we'll restart, and let's give this one more shot. And we'll give it a refresh. Failed to analyze. All right, so error fetching, not supported. All right, so let's take a look at our code. I actually think I know what the issue is here. If we look at our backend, and where's this going to be located? Let's do like this. It's in here. I'm trying to pattern match and find the Gemini 3 Flash right here. That might be correct. So let's go back, and we'll do the exact same thing here. And for this, I will actually try and pull in that skill as well. So if I come back into our primary window where we're doing our Gemini CLI debugging, I'm going to paste this in, and I'm going to say, I'm going to try to ask this as a question to get it to not jump right into coding, but I'm going to say, what do you think is the error here? confirm with me before making changes. And we'll hope that that listens to us. And at the same time, Gemini agent skill is going to be what we're looking for here. We might have to go look at a tweet. There's a, I know I have this saved somewhere. Agent skill, it's like on GitHub somewhere. So the thing I'm looking for is a really new feature. I think this is it, yeah. I'll put this in chat for y'all as well. I'll paste that in. Anyone in my chat know what agent skills are by any chance? You went, okay. Words release standard for current production. So there's two different versions of the packages here. So there's generative AI and then there's Gen AI. And so I actually think this is our issue right here. So let me see if I can prompt this. So I think there are two different versions of the package. I think the distinction is generative AI versus Gen AI, maybe. I normally do this in Python is the reason I'm kind of doubting myself, but we could probably go find this ourselves. Yeah, so right here, and this is, let me zoom that for y'all. So here it's the @Google/Gen AI package, and at here it's the Google generative-AI package. And this is just an update they did at some point in the last year or so. So let me copy this like code snippet for it as well. I think this code snippet from the website will help. And let's see if that gets it going for us. I'm exactly right. That does make me a little suspicious. But hopefully I am actually correct. Cool. Swap the package. Also use an updated code. Yes, that all sounds good. While that's going, I am curious about, so let's go, well, I have a couple of things I want to check out. I'm going on like a little side quest, or I'm worried about going on little side quests here. So for those of you who aren't familiar, skills are a kind of like new framework or new like methodology for giving AI agents like information and repeatable processes maybe. So in this case, there's a skill specifically for implementing and using Gemini APIs. So we actually click in here, we can take a look at what this looks like. But the skill is just a markdown file that has a bunch of information for the AI to use. And then it actually has that warning about what we just ran into on stream. So it literally has a warning about the legacy SDK versus the more recent version, which is exactly what we ran into. So here it wants to see me do some installations. Yeah, that looks correct. And this is exactly the kind of information I just gave it, right? So very cool that you can like have this kind of pre-packaged. I actually have not installed a skill for the Gemini CLI, which I probably should have over the weekend when I was at my hackathon, but let's go see. I suspect we can get this installed. I don't know that I have NPX skills. And is this, I wonder if this installs for all agents or if this just installs locally. So this is Vercel skills, I see, okay. So I think what I want to do is kind of do a little bit more of a manual installation because I just want to install it for this directory. But let's see if we can fix this first. Allow, that looks fine. Sure, it uses Gemini 3 model. Yep, that looks good. I've also adjusted the content limit to take advantage of the larger context window. Great. And it wants us to run the backend directory, not directory, the backend itself again. So npm run dev. Alrighty, our front end is still up and running. Let's go take a look here, friends. Go ahead and give this a refresh. And we'll put that in one more time. Still failing to analyze. What's our issue here? Did that not refresh or maybe not update? Let's do like this. We'll restart both. I can't imagine that's the problem, but let's give it a shot. Okay, give this a full refresh. And is that the same error? That's interesting to me. Let's see, is that the exact same error we were running into before? Or is it slightly different? I think it's a little bit different, right? We're still running into an error here. Can you take a look? Let's see what it thinks here. The other thing we can try to do here is actually integrate. Let's see here. What does this want to do? It wants to list available models. That's fine. And it wants to run this, right? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So it's trying to build a tool for itself to list the models, the names of the models. It's under Flash preview. I should have been able to catch that myself. That one's probably a user error, but we will go ahead and allow this. All right, let's get back in here. We can do npm run dev one more time. And let's see if that works for us. Okay, we're analyzing. That's huge. Big progress. And let's see, nothing in our backend just yet. All right, and so here it gave us a couple of options. Let's take a look here. So data analytics, sustainability and fintech, and cybersecurity and dev tools. The thing I'm curious about is, let's go back to the Who Hacks website. Are these real categories? I wanted to show more of its thinking here. So sustainability and fintech, data analytics, cybersecurity and dev tools. I don't see any of those listed here, right? So I am worried it just hallucinated on us. That's my concern at this point. So let's see if we can't work through that together. So I'm going to copy all this. So I'm going to try and toss it back to my AI here. What does this view button do? The view button doesn't work. Okay. Oh, it probably pulls it up into here is what it does. Okay. I expected, based on this iconography, this open up a new tab or something, but so we got a successful brainstorm, but I don't think it really pulled live data from the hackathon. Can we expose some thinking or take a look at the logic it applied some other way? We validate this wasn't a hallucination. And here's the ideas it brainstormed. And then I'm also going to say, I want to be able to confirm it looked at the data on the website somehow. Data on the website somehow. That might be too complex, but we'll see. We'll give it a shot. Okay, those ideas definitely look like generic. Great, to fix this and provide, I'll update the backend to expose thinking. Yeah, verify the scraper, I'll add a console log of the for okay. The React edit is context found. Great, that's awesome. All good changes here. Great, so let's allow that. That seems fine to me. And while that's doing that, I'm curious if there's more. Let me go back into the skill itself here. Is there, let's see, how to use Gemini API? And it just has links to documentation. Okay, that's fine. So let's go back here. So this is taking a look at something. Includes the event context. Okay. So it's trying to update our front end for us so this all displays correctly. That seems valid. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our website. Let's give this a refresh. Let's try Who Hacks. Actually, let me validate that this view button does what I thought. Yeah, so it does just pull it back in here. Let's take another look and see what we get. I did not prepare enough coffee before the stream. I have a tiny little cortado and I've run out. Cool. So here, it did pull some information, but it feels like it's out of date information, right? Like I didn't see Vercel on here. Did anyone else see that? Yeah, I see no mention of Vercel. Am I, maybe click on prize tracks? Yeah, it still doesn't feel correct. I wonder if it's using an old version of the site. Like that's what it feels like the most likely. Yeah, and so there's actually no content in this little script thing as well. So let's paste this back in. So I think it's still hallucinating. The logs don't show any data. I wonder if the test site I'm using doesn't allow like robots/scraping. And then I'll paste that in. And I'm actually going to provide it with a screenshot as well here of a couple of things. So I'm going to do, I may actually do them one at a time. It's probably smarter. So I'll just take a screenshot here. We'll do something like this. No need to be perfect on that. We'll copy that. And we'll paste that into our CLI as well, ideally. Great. And let me resize you all as well. So I'm curious what it comes back with here, if it has ideas for me. Sure, so it's trying to build out better debugging for itself. We might need to just use a library here to help with the scraping. Okay, it gave us a better logging system to validate if this website actually is the problem. Let's do another one. Yeah, so there you go. That's pretty good. Okay, so let's see if we can find a website that does work as maybe the next approach to take. So we're just going to try a couple here. Go take a look at maybe Command F. And again, here I want to actually prune out all of that. UTM. Now let's try this. That looks promising. We're thinking. Let's maybe take a look at our terminal here. So here it actually is pulling in information. In particular, I'm seeing like Mad Hatter's Tea Party. So that seems like it's relevant and recent. And that is their theme. Awesome. Okay. So let's go back into our actual results and take a look at those. So here it has the organizing body, it has the dev post. This is an actual partner from the event. It has some of the specific tracks and prizes. Great. And then let's see if these are valid-ish or not. So let's take a look here. So let's go take a look at their sponsors. Actually, might be the first spot we start. Okay, so I'm noticing this might be because my widescreen. We will put the organizers on blast for that one. So they've got GitHub, they've got OnePass. I've seen Lovable. Nando's is an awesome sponsor. Very cool. Okay. And this might be because I'm so zoomed in too. Okay. So this does look like a promising lead for us. I'm using, oh, sorry, I just saw this comment, by the way. I'm using the Gemini CLI right now. So this is the Gemini CLI. And then the app that we're building is also using Gemini as part of its, like it's actually using the Gemini API to actually go out and get stuff for us. So that worked. I needed to swap to a different site. The ideas that came back were good. The ideas that came back were good. But I'm curious if we can load more of the website. I think you're just grabbing first 500 characters. Is that right? Is that right? Let's see. And let me pull this off screen as well. Yeah, only logging the first 500 characters. Okay. Okay. 100,000 characters is probably crazy, but sure. Okay. More reliably, sure, that seems fine, if perhaps a bit lazy. Okay. And I'm now explicitly removing SPK, which often noise the is okay. One other question. There are many sponsors with images on the page, but no text descriptions. Any ideas on how we could see those and add them to our context? And again, I have some ideas on how I would do this myself, but I'm just trying to have some fun and let the tool do some of the work here. I think this type of vibe coding probably not what you're going to do in production again, but so multimodal, which makes tons of sense. We can update the scraper, find image tags. Okay. Okay, we can send images and text directly to the model. Great. Put in a prompt. Okay. Yes, let's do that. Yes, let's do that. And we've only got about 10 minutes left here, so let me do another plug for my check-in page as well here. So make sure you've checked in if you are joining me later on here. And let me go take a look. I'll do it like this. I'll pull that off to the side. Looks like we did have a bunch of people check in, which is great. So I will close that. All right, and here we're just gonna trust because we're short on time. We've only got 9 minutes left. I spent too much time goofing around. Not enough vibe code, clearly. Let's go back up here. We're gonna want, and apologies for all the alt tapping here. All right, so we'll let our model think for a second. Okay. So here it had an error. And hopefully it fixes itself here. I see that it cut off its own response, and so I'm a little nervous. We might have to do a little restart there. Oh no, it worked. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, completed the vision upgrade. All right, let's give it a shot here. So I'm going to use that exact same URL as last time, which I can go grab right here. And actually want the defaults, not the direct sponsors link. Let's see. Ooh, failed to analyze, so we hit an error, but that's okay. Okay, so let's do what we were doing before and actually send that back to our model. Ran into an error with the MIME type. And that should be a quick fix. I've seen this one before. And here it's, oh, interesting. I thought that Gemini did support SVGs. That's kind of surprising to me. Let's allow that and let's do a little Google on the side here. SVG, Google Gemini. Supported. So here I'm getting an AI response. Might actually be better than what I'm finding. Probably should go look at the actual documentation. But who's got time for that? As it turns out, I do. SVG, let's see here. Didn't actually pull up what I was looking for. Models, Gemini, docs. And then here we want the vision capabilities. Yeah, is this image creation or image understanding? In image understanding, there we go. And let's go see here. For more information, okay. Files API guide. I'm just looking for the types here. No, it's still not what we want. Is this like right on page somewhere? And I'm missing it, obviously. Now let's go back to our project here and see if we can't get it to run with what it has now. So it's extracting the type. Yep, that's fine. Okay, let's give that a shot and see if that works for us. And we'll come back to our actual, we'll see if we can debug a little bit with our last few seconds. Give this one more shot. Let's see what that gets us. I'm hoping that we can kind of compare and contrast our last one with this new one. We'll see. So it found only the Command F logo. It's cool that it pulls it in here though. I'm curious if this actually has any that are based on the sponsors they have though. Just that one. Let's go actually look at the website ourselves. So like something like GitHub, if we inspect this image, it's not what I was expecting. Did I crash the Chrome tab? That's interesting. Am I? Maybe try that again. Let's try that one more time. Let's see here. I was in the sponsors section, right? Is inspect going to do the same thing? Am I missing something obvious there? There's nothing in elements. It's very interesting to me. I've not seen that before. I wonder if that's like a quirk with the website here, or something's blocked. That looks like YouTube something. I don't know what that is. Very interesting. I have no idea. I'd be very curious if my crowd knows, but I can't see the elements here when I inspect. I just took a while to load. Weird. Very weird. Okay, so let's see if we can't. So we have this whole like sponsors grid, and they're all sorted on Firebase. Yep. Is this the actual one I wanted? Let's see if we can't look at this image specifically. Is that going to work? It does have the logo. But so the file name trick that Gemini tried to implement isn't going to work here. You all might not be able to see that because it's too tiny, but it's like a, you know, like a random string basically. So it was expecting that file names would be like, you know, GitHub logo or whatever, which I don't think is going to work. Still very cool little progress. Like I really like the design of this. I'll go ahead and throw this up on GitHub in case anyone wants to continue to play around with it. But I am coming up right on time here. I'll get this pushed over to GitHub while I answer any last minute questions that folks might have. I've got 2 minutes left here on stream. If I don't have questions, that's okay as well. So can you help me prep this to put on my GitHub? You should have access to the GitHub CLI tool locally here. I should already be logged in. Let's call this repo Global Hack Week Data 2026-02 on GitHub. Is a terrible name, but we'll make it work. And so let's see if that's able to do that for me. I do want to be careful about that API key and make sure that it actually does. And so it's giving me a license. Sure, that's fine. And doing like a little README seems totally okay. Yep, it just wants to add everything. I don't think it's actually defined a GitHub CLI. Okay, that seems fine for now though. And let's see if we can't get this up for folks though as we wrap up. That's it did create a new repo. Nice. And we'll just grab that URL and we'll see if we need to delete that API key or not. Hey, we don't need to. You'll have to see it. So I will share this in chat in case anyone wants to keep working on this in their downtime in between other Global Hack Week streams. But otherwise, that was me playing around with the Gemini CLI. Appreciate everyone tuning in and joining. Again, check into the event if you haven't already, and then we will see you for the next one. Let's take a look at our schedule. That's our last little activity here. So that was Vote on Ryan's Hack. Up next, we have all about production engineering. I think this is going to be Amanda and some other folks from our team are going to join in on this. But if you're interested at all, we're going to have a little production engineering talk coming up next at 3 p.m. That's an hour from now, but you can come back around or keep an eye on Discord for those announcements. Cool. Thank you very much, friends. I will catch you all next time.